Happy holidays, everyone. Welcome to another edition of The End Zone along with Rodney Anderson this week. I am Colby Daniels. Hope you're enjoying family, food, friends, football, all the F's as we get ready for another big weekend of college football. Rodney, great to have you, first of all. You've been on the show multiple times, so no stranger to how this thing works. But I've just got to ask, man, being as close to the team as you are, what have the last 3-4 weeks been like? Because it's been a wild ride, especially with the road trips, but finding interesting ways to win. It's been a lot of fun from the outside looking in.
It's been great. I mean, being involved in an NIL capacity helps me get to know these guys on a little bit deeper of a level. And so to see them go out and be faced with such a schedule and such a gauntlet and how much it's been talked up and talked about, it's so fun to see them have the success that they've been having. Like they like to say, they're hard to kill.
Yeah, it's the motto, and we'll see if that comes to fruition, obviously, as they wrap up the regular season. Senior day, college football, playoff implications on the line. I mean, it doesn't get much bigger than this matchup against LSU to close out the regular season in Norman. I would say the last home game of the year, but because of the college football playoff and the way things might fall, they might have one more, but at least one guaranteed home game remaining, possibly two. All right, we got to talk about this offense because the defense is all world. They just keep doing incredible things week in, week out. The offense leaves a little to be desired. Right. There are a lot of, I think, different opinions on what's happening with the offense. First and foremost, though, I think people are asking, what is the offensive identity of this football team? Ben Arbuckle spoke about that earlier this week.
The identity of our offense is doing what winning requires, playing smart, complementary football. We're not turning the ball over. We're, running the ball pretty effectively. We need to be a little bit more efficient, be a little bit more detailed, and that's where explosive plays will start happening.
Finding ways to win, that's certainly what they've been able to do so far. Jaren Kanak was asked about the offense and just how close they are to figuring things out.
When you turn the film on, it's never as bad as you think, and it's obviously never as good as you think. And it just goes back to just a couple little things here and there. And I hate saying we're close, and I'm not going to say that, but we're close.
He says they're close. That's out of the Lincoln Riley playbook, isn't it? We're this close.
Yeah.
I think he was having some
more trust in Jaren Kanak.
Yes, 100%. Some people think that maybe the whole we're playing winning football, we're doing whatever it takes to win is a little bit of a cop-out, because I think what Ben Arbuckle said is completely accurate, right? That's true of any game. You're figuring out ways to win within the confines of what that game presents. Yeah. I don't know if it's a cop-out, but at the same time, finding ways to win isn't really an identity. What is your bread and butter? There's not really one thing necessarily offensively you can rely on at this point, right?
Yeah, and when that happens, you have to rely on your tools, right? Those explosive play guys that you can get the ball, get them in space, and just figure out ways to win. I think that's what he means. We're figuring out how to get those guys open and figuring out how to put them in opportune situations to move the ball down the field. That identity will come in doing so. This is the SEC. It's going to be hard to win every game. We knew that our defense was just everything that it is right now going into the season. We knew that the offense was going to have a lot of work to make up, and they've been making progress. I think people are looking past the progress that they have made throughout the season. But to everybody's point, there's still a lot of work to do, and the teams are only going to get harder and harder down the line. So I don't think there's any time to panic right now. Let's just win these games. W's matter.
As long as you're not turning the ball over, exactly, I mean, that defense and special teams is going to keep you in every ball game. I think the biggest difference from the early part of the season and what we're watching now, and especially coming off of, I think, Jackson Arnold quarterbacking this team, I was really impressed with John Mateer's decisiveness within the offense in the early stages of the season. It didn't seem like he was just sitting in the pocket deer in headlights, because that's what we saw a lot of last year with Jackson Arnold. Yeah. And obviously there's been a tremendous increase in the talent that they're facing since the Mateer injury. I don't know if maybe the injury has made him second guess himself, but he does not seem clearly as decisive as he was in the early stages of the season.
Yeah, and a lot of people are looking past what goes into a surgery. It's a lot of things that go into cutting your skin open and going in and changing something, altering something, and then you're expected to sew that up and suit back up and go throw touchdowns. Yeah, that's a hard thing to do. And so, whether it's his thumb, whether it's the competition, I don't think it really matters like at all.
Yeah.
You know, we're winning games. We're putting the ball in the end zone when it matters, when we need to. Could we do it a couple more times? Would we like to see that? Of course.
Of course.
But, I mean, I like I said before, I don't think there's any room to panic. We're getting the job done. You know, like, are we going to sit here and complain about, you know, a winning season, knowing the seasons that we've been through the past few years? I don't know. I think we need to count ourselves lucky that we've got an offense that's serviceable and that's showing progress as we move on.
Well, it's a big matchup this weekend against LSU. Your brother plays at LSU. They are 7-4. They fired Brian Kelly after the A&M debacle. They're 2-1 since Kelly was dismissed. They're 2-0 with Van Buren as the starting quarterback following Garrett Nussmeier's injuries. What do you make of this LSU team? Because from a talent standpoint, I mean, they match up with Oklahoma across the board.
They do, but they have no infrastructure right now. It's kind of a dumpster fire over there. You mentioned their head coach, Brian Kelly, getting fired. And I think that's kind of like a writing on the wall type of a situation. And now they're just playing like kind of with nothing to lose. You know, they know where they're at. They know what their season is, which makes them such a hurdle for OU, you know, such a trap game. I think, you know, as long as we capitalize on the things that we do right, we've been taking advantage of new quarterbacks all year. And so let's get after Van Buren.
Yeah.
Let's make him uncomfortable. Let's make him rely on his legs because our run support is also great. And then our offense, you know, LSU's defense has been the strength of their team, similar to us. But they have dealt with injury. Their identity has been in their linebacking core, which has been a little bit inconsistent at times. And so I think that our offense will have an opportunity to yet again take another step forward, as long as, like you said, we keep the ball off the ground and we don't make any dumb mistakes.
Don't give them extra opportunities and set them
Exactly.
up with short fields. Obviously, both teams have been really good at special teams this season, but the LSU offensive line has really struggled throughout the season. And when you look at the OU defensive front, I just have a hard time, regardless of the OU offensive struggles, imagining that LSU is going to be able to keep that defensive front at bay long enough to score points in a way that's going to result in a win. So it should be a fun matchup. We'll talk a little bit later about this matchup and ultimately who we see coming out on top. We've got to take a timeout, though. I want to have some fun. It's the holiday season. Everybody's celebrating. We're going to talk about football celebrations on the other side of the break, next on the End Zone. And welcome back to the End Zone, along with Rodney Anderson. I am Colby Daniels. We're getting ready for the season finale, Oklahoma versus LSU. Should be a fun matchup, and obviously big opportunity for Oklahoma to potentially punch their college football playoff ticket. We kind of said the same thing about the Missouri game, right? In essence, a playoff game. You got to win this game to keep your playoff hopes alive. Yep. Oklahoma absolutely did that. I thought they played with a lot of emotion. There were a lot of celebrations on Saturday, a lot of big plays. You're no stranger to making big plays, Rodney. Let's take a look for a moment at the Rodney Anderson highlight reel, just to remind people that Rodney has had his share of big plays in the biggest stages of college football. I mean, the Rose Bowl, for crying out loud. Look at that man go.
Man, that was another time. Different knees. Yeah.
You mean to tell me that if you were on the football field this Saturday, you're not making those same types of plays?
Oh, I don't know. I don't think you want to trust my knees in those situations again.
Fair enough, fair enough. But the point is, you have made your share of big-time plays on game day. So I'm going to let you rate some game day celebrations from OU's win over Missouri last week. All right, let's start with Grayson Halton, who breaks out the dance moves after a big play. What do you got here?
I like it. Honestly, I've seen a lot of people do that. I don't know what it means, but I think it's cool. I'll give it a 7.5.
All right, 7.5 for Grayson Halton. That kind of sets the bar for everything else. Now, you mentioned hard to kill as their motto.
Oh, yeah.
That stems from the movie Gladiator, which they've been watching over and over. Here's Owen Heineke, I think, going back to that motto.
Yep.
There it is, the thumbs down, the Emperor thumbs down.
That's 10 out of 10 for me. The creativity, they tied it to their team's mission, and it caught on. Like, everybody in the stands are doing it, teammates are doing it. I love it. 10 out of 10 for me.
And it's kind of subtle, right? It's not like super flashy. It's subtle enough.
No knock against the dancing and the other things that are a little less subtle, but the subtlety, and if you have something subtle that hits just as hard, I think that's better.
Yeah, okay, so those are a couple defensive players. Let's go to the offensive side of the ball. Isaiah Sategna's done nothing but make big plays all season.
That's 6-7. Okay, I mean, He's rocking a trend right now, so he's playing to the crowd. I like the awareness.
Yeah,
I'll give
yeah.
it an 8.
Okay.
I'm the NIL guy,
8?
and so
Okay.
I like that kind of stuff.
Kind of bringing in pop culture to the
A
equation.
brand might see that and go, okay, he's with the trends. I can go give him an NIL
8's a
deal or
little
something.
high for me. I was thinking somewhere between 6, 7 as I mean, what a missed opportunity by
I know.
you there.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Okay.
You're clearly the professional in this
8
situation.
is a really good score, though, for Isaiah Satania. All right, we got to wrap up with Jaron Kanik. We heard from him earlier. He said he got this from Sammy Omosigo.
Okay.
The shovel
yeah.
scoop first down.
It's smooth. And I feel like everybody would agree with me saying that Jaron Kanik is kind of like the blue collar working man of the
Oh,
team.
yeah, 100%.
And so I like the shovel. I like the first down. You can always rely on him, working guy.
I mean, played the blue collar positions on both sides of the ball, right linebacker,
Yeah,
tight end, just kind
yeah.
of do a little bit of everything. If you just told me that was the celebration, it probably wouldn't be rated as high as the actual execution of it.
Right, yes.
He
I
just did
agree.
it so well.
He did. It was
Yeah.
very smooth, and it was in step. He did steal it from Sammy, though.
Yeah, well, Sammy gave him the idea for it, and
Okay,
so
okay.
yeah.
All right, well then, 7.5.
Okay, 7.5. So
nothing beats the
nothing beats the
Gladiator.
Owen
Yeah.
Heineke Gladiator.
I love that.
Thumbs down.
I
All
love
right,
it.
fair enough. We may have you do a celebration in a moment, so keep something in mind as we get ready for moving the chains. We got to talk about the college football playoff because Oklahoma has positioned themselves. They are number 8 for the second week in a row in the playoff ranking. If the playoffs were to end today, ladies and gentlemen, this is what our bracket would look like. If you look up here, Oklahoma for the second week in a row, the 8th seed would be hosting Notre Dame in Norman, Oklahoma on either December 19th or 20th. I just can't imagine what that atmosphere would be like.
Oh man, 2 traditional, historic blue collar team or blue blood teams. I really think that would be, a game to watch. 8 and 9. They have an amazing running back, great offense against a great defense, obviously from OU. So, fantastic matchup. I think it'd be a lot of fun to watch.
So some people have said if OU wins, they are in 100%. I kind of believe that as well.
Right.
Although, it's always dangerous to deal in absolutes because what if 8 of your players suffer season-ending injuries? We saw it happen to Florida State one year, right?
Fair,
So,
yeah.
there is some sort of weird world where maybe they get left out because of weird things happening. But ultimately, I think if they win, they are in. Do you see a scenario where Oklahoma wins and gets left out outside of John Mateer and Grayson Halton and half the team getting hurt or some weird thing like that?
Outside of anything weird, it's hard to leave them out. Everybody talked up this schedule like, oh, there's no way.
Yeah.
There's no way that they can have success. There's no way they'll overcome. What about their offense? Too many question marks. And then here we are, number 8, looking at an LSU that's beat up, kind of expecting to win, knock on wood or whatever. I don't see how they get left out.
The wins over Tennessee and Alabama on the road, I think
yes,
we're enough that
yes.
if you finish 10-2, I don't see how you position anybody ahead of Oklahoma. Clearly, 5 conference champions have to make it, but there aren't 7 total teams that will have a better resume than Oklahoma
Right.
if they beat LSU. I about said Notre Dame. If they beat LSU this Saturday, so
Yeah.
college football playoff on the line should be a big one. Before we take our final timeout and head to moving the chains, MAC correspondent Adam King has 10 seconds of MAC football.
Guys, Ohio University quarterback Parker Navarro filed for a 7th year of college eligibility this week. The potential MAC Player of the Year already having rumors about transferring to a big...
And that was 10 seconds of MAC football. It's Moving the Chains next here on the End Zone. All right, welcome back to the End Zone. It is time for Moving the Chains. Rodney Anderson is our guest, no stranger to moving the chains. He's done this successfully 2 times, so let's make third time a charm. Adam King is going to officiate this thing for us today, our MAC correspondent. Always doing a great. You get more than 10 seconds, so
I don't know what to do with it.
This should be a lot of
It's
fun.
a lot of pressure.
All right, it's the holiday season. We just had Thanksgiving. I know everybody's still full from Turkey Day. John Mateer earlier this week spoke about his favorite and least favorite Thanksgiving food items.
Mashed potatoes and gravy is probably, I love that growing up. My dad makes me mashed potatoes and gravy, and then pumpkin pie goes crazy. I'm not a big green bean casserole guy.
Well, Eddie's not gonna like that one.
I know. I'm sorry, guys. But I try it every year, and it's like, not for me.
All right, Rodney, first and 10. Give us your hot take for best and worst Thanksgiving foods.
Oh man, Best Thanksgiving food, my meemaw makes a incredible sweet potato pie.
Okay. Okay.
So sweet potato pie is probably like one of my all-time go-tos. My mom makes a really great cranberry salad as well.
Okay.
And so I think those two are like my go-tos. Worst dish. You know, like sometimes you got people that bring over like the salad with like the nuts in it, and it's like, what, why do you put almonds in the salad?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay. I
It's
like
doing
that.
too much.
Yeah.
I don't know.
This feels like we're playing here. This is classic line 'em up, hat on a hat. That's a 4-yard gain. That's
Okay,
that's
fair
his
enough.
exact style, right? That's everything we expected from
it.
first down here.
All right. Solid production on
Yeah.
first down. You're right on schedule, as we've heard them say throughout this football season. We got to be on schedule. All right, 2nd and 6. We saw some celebrations earlier.
Yeah.
If you were to play Saturday and make a big play, what's the celebration?
So I've got to shout out the greatest fraternity in the world, Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. When I scored my first touchdown for OU, I hit him with the and I threw up the hooks.
Nice.
That's my go-to touchdown celebration. So that's probably what I'd do this Saturday if I was so lucky
Okay.
to score a touchdown against LSU.
And we
Okay.
appreciate the awareness. He said, maybe the knees don't get involved like they used to, because he had a
Yeah.
couple cuts in there that kind of made me buckle a little bit. That's another. You got to give it up for the boys. That's another 4. We'll give them to 3rd and
Okay.
short.
All
We're
right.
doing pretty well so far.
Third and short. All right, this one is, I think you got the first down probably on this one. OU's played at a lot of great home atmospheres at Tennessee, at Alabama, at Ole Miss last year. I know you've played in a lot of great road atmospheres. What is the best home game atmosphere in college football? You can't pick OU.
Best home game atmosphere. You know, it's funny. I didn't play at too many like crazy historic places. One place that always stood out to me just because I had a great game there was Kansas State.
Okay.
I feel like they've got a fan base that no matter what the season,
Yes.
no matter how it's going, they're going to show up just like the football team, kind of like a juggernaut
Yeah.
of their league. They were just always chirping, always involved in the game to the very last second. So for me personally, that's a game that always just stood out to me. I think I got to go K-State.
That was a little bit of a surprise.
Yeah,
I thought we were
yeah.
kind of going a different route with that. We're gonna get him 2 there, but it's like a 1 3/4.
Okay,
So he's got
okay.
he's just like he's the index card away. We want to
like it.
invoke the past here.
If you've ever seen a bunch of farmers raving on the back of flatbed trucks, that's
Yeah.
what a Kansas State
Yeah.
tailgate scene looks like. It is absolutely wild. All right, let's get one more in here. If you had one more year of eligibility, where would you go? And you can't pick OU.
Oh. Dang. Gosh.
We stumped him.
I know that's
We
so
stumped
tough
him.
to do to
This
him
is
too,
so
especially
tough.
because
Right.
you would think he might like lean LSU, but like tough week to call that.
You know, so my first thought was, my brother plays for LSU. I never got to play with my middle brother, and that was like we were only 2 years apart.
Yeah.
So I was like, if I'm gonna play with one of them, it's gonna be him. But then I don't know. Like my uncle played for Alabama, and it was between OU and Alabama, which way I was gonna
Okay.
go. Family always wins for me though.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna go LSU.
Okay,
Man.
LSU, the opponent this weekend.
Yeah,
but
that's a tough week for him, but that's a
obviously
tush
I said
push,
if
right?
you can't pick OU though, so yeah.
If I can't
clearly
pick
that's the
OU,
first.
I'm gonna go play with my little brother.
There you go.
Yeah,
There you
we
go.
make it. We'll move him on that one.
All
That's-
right,
you can't
first
say- yeah.
down, first down, Rodney Anderson on this edition of Moving the Chains. We're going to wrap the show up with game picks next here on the End Zone.
Week.
All right, massive weekend of college football matchups, including some of the biggest rivalries in the country. We're going to start with the game, number 1, Ohio State at Michigan.
I'm going Ohio State. They've been pretty consistent throughout this entire NIL new era of college football. Michigan, they started pretty slow. Obviously, we saw them earlier this year, but have kind of been on the uptick here lately. But I still got to go Ohio State.
I'll take Michigan in the points. I think Ohio State wins, but Michigan keeps it close for rivalry game reasons. Should be a fun one in Ann Arbor. All right, the Iron Bowl, Alabama at Auburn.
I'm calling the upset this week.
Upset special.
Yeah, Alabama, I feel like if there's going to be somebody to call an upset, call an Alabama L, it's got to be a Sooner fan, right? Because we've kind of had their number for the past few years. I just see it being one of those hard-fought rivalry games, and similar to Michigan, Auburn's kind of been on the uptick here lately.
Yeah.
So I got to go Auburn.
All right, I'll go Alabama. I think it's close. Alabama, late touchdown to pull away, but give me the Crimson Tide. All right, Oklahoma State in their home finale, 1-10 versus Iowa State.
Got to go Iowa State. OSU's just been kind of struggling this year.
Yeah, I'll take Iowa State as well. I think they win by more than a couple touchdowns. And finally, OU hosting LSU. What do you got?
Got to go OU. LSU, same thing, dumpster fire right now. OU at the same time has been picking it up, moving faster and faster, so definitely OU.
My pick was 20-10, so I like the Sooners to win by 10, but give me the 10.5 for LSU. So I think LSU covers, but OU wins. Should be a fun Saturday. Rodney, always great to have you. Everybody have a great weekend.